I was born to preach the gospel. I was born to preach the gospel. I was born to preach the gospel. And I sure do love my job. Yeah. I was born to preach the gospel. I was born to preach the gospel. I'm born to preach the gospel. And I sure do love my job. Yeah. Yes, I really love my job. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. Oh, I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. Yes, I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. Get firmly rooted. So let's get firmly rooted. Let's get firmly rooted. So let's get firmly rooted. Oh, I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. Let's get firmly rooted. Firmly rooted. Let's get firmly rooted. Yeshua, 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 Yeshua. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. We are disciples that make disciples that make disciples. We are disciples that make disciples that make disciples. We are disciples that make disciples that make disciples. Let's keep firmly rooted. Firmly rooted.
Hey, good morning, Rooted Men. Pastor Tom, Firmly Rooted Ministries. It is good to be back. Had a great week of vacation, great trip back, and found some wonderful notes on my desk. Thank you very much for the love notes. It was really encouraging, and I'm excited. I'm amped up and ready. We're looking at, let's see. First of all, let's see who's on board. There's Ken Gooch right there, and there's Bert Reggiani, and it looks like that might just be the three of us. I'm not seeing some of the other usuals on board. Tell me that you can see me and hear me. Just give me a thumbs up. Not being here for over a week, I just want to make sure that my sound and my video is good. So either Ken or Bert or both of you, just give me a thumbs up. Let me know that we're okay. We're looking at James chapter 2, and one of the things that I guess I want you to realize and I want to remind you of is that, thanks, all good. This section can get confusing, and I want to get right to the confusing part and then come back and look at the whole text again. In James chapter 2, verse 24, it says, "You see that a person is justified by what he does and not by faith alone." But in Romans chapter 3, it says that we are justified by faith and not by our works. So Romans chapter 3, Paul says that we are justified. We maintain that a man is justified by faith apart from observing the law. James says, you see that a person is justified by what he does and not by faith alone. This is why Martin Luther, early in his ministry, considered James the straw apostle and wasn't sure that it should be added to the Bible, that it should be part of the canon. Most theologians, and I believe that Luther misunderstood what James was trying to say. James is not trying to contradict objective justification, that we are redeemed and saved by what Christ has done. Subjective justification, that the Holy Spirit created faith in my heart, and I believe that message, and hence, because of that faith, I'm redeemed and saved. Objective justification, subjective justification. Well, then why does James say that you see that a person is justified by what he does and not by faith alone? Now let's go through the reading, and we got to look at one verse from last week, where in verse 12 it says, speak and act as those who are going to be judged by the law that gives freedom, because judgment without mercy will be shown to anyone who is not merciful. Mercy triumphs over judgment. Speak and act as those who are going to be judged by the law that gives freedom. Well, there is no law that gives freedom. The law condemns me. The law says that I'm sinning. The law says I'm not good enough. The law says that I'm always falling short. So what does he mean that we should speak and act as those who are going to be judged by the law that gives freedom? He's talking about objective justification and subjective justification. That you should and I should act, speak like someone who's had their behind saved. Not that we've saved it by what we do. We should be acting like somebody who knows that our soul has been redeemed by Jesus, that we were eternally lost and now we are found. We are once blind, but now we see. We were once dead, but now we're alive. And because we know that, we speak and act. He's talking about sanctification. He's talking about our Christian life. That's why earlier he says, when people come in, don't just assume the rich person should get at the great seat and you shun somebody else. He's trying to talk about the fact that in the realm of sanctification, there should be fruits coming from our faith. I'm the vine, you're the branches. If a man remains in me and I in him, there's justification, there's faith. Boom. Equal sign, he'll bear fruit. It's two sides of the same coin. One cannot be a Christian and not live a changed life. It's impossible. There should be fruit that comes worthy of the work that the Spirit of God has done. I hope this makes sense. So now when you read the text, he says, what good is it, my brothers, if a man claims to have faith, but there's no deeds that match the faith? There's no deeds coming out of the faith. What good is it? Suppose a brother without clothes and daily food, if one says to him, oh, go, I wish you well, keep warm and well fed, but does nothing about the physical needs, what good is it? In the same way, faith by itself, if not accompanied by action, is dead. Notice that Jesus, out of his relationship with the Father, not only spoke words of truth, not only knew words of truth, but he acted them out. He healed the sick. He shared forgiveness and grace. He restored people back to the Father. He performed miracles. Those are the actions that came from the relationship. James is trying to say, how can somebody believe in Jesus and not have somewhat of a changed life. It's impossible. He goes on to say, show me your faith without deeds. Nothing's changed in your life and you say that you have faith. Show it to me. Well, you can't. Because in that respect, then it's just subjective. It's something that's inside you that you think you have, and I can't see it. He says, I will show you my faith by what I do. I will show you. We just heard yesterday morning Ed Pila give a testimony about what God did in his life from a young boy all the way to today. And in it, you see the fruits. It wasn't just, I believe then, and I believe then, and I believe then. It was always, and this came out, this is what happened, this is what developed, this is how it is experienced. Show me your faith without deeds, and I will show you my faith by what I do. You believe that there is one God? Good. Even the demons believe that and shudder. Even the demons believe that and shudder. When Jesus came to demon-possessed people, they would shout out, hey, Christ, Son of God, what are you doing? Are you here to judge us? They knew exactly who Jesus was. It's not about our knowledge. It's about our faith relationship. It's about being connected to the vine. And if we're connected to the vine, if we're abiding in Jesus and he's abiding in us, fruits are going to come. When I was naked, you fed me. When I was in prison, you clothed me. When I was alone, you visited me. He says, you foolish man, do you want evidence that faith without deeds is useless? Was not our ancestor Abraham considered righteous for what he did when he offered his son Isaac on the altar? You see that his faith and his actions were working together, right? Because in the Bible, it says in Genesis, Abraham believed God and it was credited to him as righteousness. Yes, our faith in God's grace redeems and saves us, period. The evidence that we have been redeemed by God's grace is the fruit that comes from our life. He believed God. And he even went so far as to go to sacrifice his son, believing that God would raise him from the dead and give him back to him. But he didn't have to because he stopped him and he sacrificed a ram instead. Finally, he ends this section by saying, as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without deeds is dead. My body can't live without the spirit within me. The spirit's who I am. The body is a container. Just as my body and my spirit are necessary for life, so my faith in Jesus and what he has done and accomplished for me and the life I live are comparable. If I'm not living in any way a changed life, then I don't know Jesus. Period. Or I've fallen back into my sinful nature, one or the other. I want you to consider that just as naturally as a vine produces branches that produce fruit, faith has to have some type of fruit. They go hand in hand. They're not two separate things. They're two sides of the same coin. I'll leave it at that. I hope that this devotion was a blessing to you guys. I know it's a little longer than normal. A few other guys popped on. I'm not sure exactly who that might have been. Oh, Steve Ponoworski popped on. And I don't see the other person. All right, guys, blessings on your day. Make it a firmly rooted day, and may someone see Jesus in us today. Peace.